Hi, this is Randy Finney with Right Side of the Chart, and today is Monday, May 7th, 2012. And tonight I am going to do a video overview. I'll try to get through this as fast as possible. As I've mentioned on the site, I've been on the road for the last couple days on a road trip and traveling with my family, including my two young sons who both have the flu, and I believe I'm coming down with that myself. Also haven't slept in the last couple nights because of that. So I wanted to let you know I'll try to be as coherent as possible. I'm very tired right now, but I did want to get these ideas out there because I do see a lot of charts that look interesting, both active trade ideas that are on the site already, as well as some new setups that I'm looking at. Again, I'll run through these quickly and do my best to have the static charts on these and some other ideas out on the site as early as possible tomorrow. Okay, let's start out with LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, we're looking at a possible bearish abandoned baby pattern here that consists of a doji or this near doji type symbol, followed by this candlestick whose body is below the tail on that doji. Bearish abandoned baby candlestick patterns are fairly rare. You don't get those signals very often, and when you do, they usually lead to some follow-up selling on the downside, sometimes even a top on the stock. Again, I will mark these charts up a little bit more. Here's a trend line we want to keep an eye on. That will further confirmation of a short would be on a break of this trend line, and target. I would say a first target looks objective. Looks like about the 90. We'll call it the $96 area. Again, I'll refine these on the site, but 96.50 looks like an ideal first target. Keep in mind, I'm getting these doing this video update here at night, and we have no idea knowing how LinkedIn or any other stock that I'm covering tonight will open up tomorrow. What I mean by that, if this stock were to gap down 3 or 4 points tomorrow, that's probably not going to give you a very objective entry. So ideally, you want to try to get in somewhere around where the stock closed today. It looks like we have a little support shelf here around the lows. So even a break under that 110 level tomorrow, 110.50, I think still provides a good entry as long as you don't go too far down. You don't want to have the stock open right above this uptrend line. Have a short entry there because there's a good chance the stock will bounce off the initial test of this uptrend line. So try to enter somewhere in this area there. Alrighty, moving on to the next one, TRX. This is a trade idea. I cannot recall if I posted this on the site. I know I did a markup for a friend who follows the stock, and we have a break of this uptrend channel. That was a short entry. The stock pushed back up to retest and is now at the second support level or target, and probably has a little more downside here, in my opinion, to S3. Quite a few of the stocks that I'm going to cover tonight are the outstanding gold stock shorts that I have on the site. Okay, which brings us to the next one, GBG, Great Basin Gold. This is an active trade on the site. It was a short under, I posted this while it was still above this support level here. We gapped down below that support level, and we have been retesting that from underneath, still offering an objective short entry. Keep in mind, this is a low price stock, a penny stock trading under $1 a share, so you have a great deal of risk when potential risk when trading low price stocks. So if you're not comfortable or familiar with doing so, stay away from GBG. There's plenty of other good looking setups out there. Macy's looks like a rising wedge. I've been trying to get a piece of this one on the short side for a couple months now. Been stopped out of this trade I think twice this year already on some false breakdowns. I've had to readjust this lower uptrend line, but based on both this daily chart and the longer term charts, I do think Macy's is in for a pretty healthy pullback here, and I think on this last breakdown, which was a little more follow through, we had a push back up, a retest. You can see a few, let's zoom in here, you can look at a few candlestick wicks that just punched through here, but for the most part, prices rolled back down and may have turned back down. So I think Macy's offers an objective short entry here. First target area is about the call it 30-50 area, and of course set your stops. I would have stops not too far above the recent highs, maybe even just above the 41.65 area. Okay, moving on to the next one here. And folks, these aren't in any particular order. As I said, there's a lot I wanted to cover. I just threw them down on a notepad, and I'm going through these charts, sort of winging it here. MUX, this was an existing, has been and still is an existing trade on the site, although I will be moving this to the completed trade section today. My T3 final target zone has been hit. MUX, for those of you that took the trade or followed it, was a short up in here. Shorted a little bit early on an approach, I think, to this resistance level. Painfully held on, but I was pretty adamant that this was a momentum overshoot. I made the notes at the time and figured we'd have a pretty sharp reversal in the stock, which we did. So I hung tight with it, covered my shares at T2. That's where I covered my short, but I've kept the trade on, and this has been my final target for a while, this T3 zone. We've now, as of today, hit the top of that, came a little bit into the zone, so I would recommend taking full or partial profits if you haven't done so already, although I do feel confident that we're probably going to hit the bottom of this zone, possibly more. The gold stocks, as I've made mention in the last few weeks and pretty much throughout this year, the charts just look very bearish and continue to look like we could see some more downside. I wouldn't be an aggressive shorter at current levels. We're down so much, and these stocks are extremely oversold. But again, I would not be getting aggressive long here either. I think there's just a little bit more downside. As I go through the charts tonight, you'll see several of the existing gold shorts that I have out there are very close to their final targets, and anything's possible, but I would be surprised if those final targets were not fulfilled, being as close as we are. So let's move on to the next one, and that would be STC. Okay, this is a new setup. I haven't posted this one on the site. And as I said, I will try to get some static charts on these out tomorrow. STC, we have a pretty well-defined uptrend line here with a couple clean touches, and it looks like prices are just starting to crack through. Now, I wasn't trading today, and had I been trading, I would have waited for a little bit more move through there. Looks like the stock just barely broke below there, closed just under that line around the 1449 level, 1450. And so an official short entry would be any more downside. A move below 1450 tomorrow should do the trick. And of course a stop not too far above this trend line. So it all depends on your trading style, how far you're trying to target. But I think this is an ideal target right here, called around the 1235 level down to about 1215, somewhere in there. Again, on a move down below 1450 tomorrow with stops not too far above. Next one is AIG. And this is a stock that I used to trade very actively in a few years ago, around the time leading up to and during the financial crisis. This stock had a lot of volatility. It was a great day trading stock, swing trading stock. To be honest with you, I've taken it off my radar until recently, and I've been watching this uptrend channel, and it looks like today prices have broken below that uptrend channel. So just like the previous trade I mentioned, STC, we're not very far above there. I don't know if that price is closed. Yeah, of course they did close through there. Yeah, we're at 31.84. No, I take that back. Yeah, we closed back up in the channel. So we want to see a solid breakdown below that channel tomorrow for an entry, and targets are right here, first and second targets, and I may refine this, the targets on this trade if it starts to play out tomorrow. TXN. This is an existing trade. It's been on the site since back in looks like January or so. This trade was a short on a retest of this broken uptrend line here, as well as this horizontal level. And we hit T1 very shortly after the trade was entered. Had several other entries that I posted as prices bounced back off the first target level, hit the resistance level, this horizontal line, and as I've maintained throughout, I favored at least T2 being hit, and said that we'd need to have support at T1 give way for that to happen. And as you can see, we've finally clearly broken below that T1 support level, and T2 is not far away. So anybody in the trade, I would consider moving your stops down. If you look at the crosshairs here, pay attention to the horizontal line, and we have a gap right here at this level, another gap right here, and a reaction low right here. And I'm going to move that up to the top of that gap. Call that somewhere around the 31, 35 area. That's where I think an objective stop would be. If you're in the trade and you want to lower your stops to protect profits, move them up just above the top of this gap, and consider taking some profits here at this level. If you're holding out for T3, no problem. Again, just remember to lower your stops, protect profits. Home Depot, I won't spend a lot of time on this one. We have a pretty clear uptrend line. A few other factors looking at the longer term charts. I think this one is due for a pretty good pullback, very extended in the short term, and I think that pullback may have started here. I think we are in the early stages of turning down. So I think Home Depot can be shorted at or around current levels where it closed today, closed at 51.39, and you'd want to stop above the recent highs, which were right around this level here, somewhere around there, 52.66 area. You can check the recent highs on that. First target zone is marked, and I do favor this second target zone T2 on that trade. Okay, moving on to Caterpillar, CAT. This has been an active trade for a while. For those of you in the trade, you may have already checked out the video. I did an extensive video overview on the CAT trade. Really is an educational video on how I use multiple time frames. This CAT trade, we're looking at a daily chart here, but I did quite a bit of coverage and made a case for a longer term swing short on CAT based off the weekly and monthly charts. So for those of you that entered the trade, we've now officially hit T2, so you may want to at least lower your stops, take some profits depending on your trading plan. I still favor T3, and very likely over time some additional targets down below. Of course, a lot of that has to do with what the market does. So for the time being, take some profits if that was your plan here at T2, which we hit today or Friday. We may have actually tagged that Friday. Not sure if I already covered that. But if prices continue to move down below T2, I think we'll see T3 excuse me, in pretty short order. IAG, this is an existing trade, another gold stock short. As those of you that follow the site know, I've quite a few of those gold stocks outstanding and have had those on for a few weeks or even a couple months now. This one has hit the first target today, so if you're in the trade, you should have taken some or all profits depending on your plan, and at the very least tighten up stops. Let's take a look. Any other notes on... No, I believe that's it. Okay, just want to look at the longer term charts. Okay, I may have to add some additional targets, but for now consider this a completed trade, and I'll revisit this chart later, and I'll probably be removing this. I'll have to again take a look at it. I'm not sure if it warrants holding on to the stock for any additional gains. I think this one's provided a pretty nice move already. Symbol CY, Cypress Semi, looks like a short under this horizontal support line. We have a couple reactions there. Stock has been trending lower in a downtrend, so I wouldn't I guess this could be considered a descending triangle pattern if you view it out on a longer term time frame. So a break below this line would trigger a short, and I will have to take a look at the chart, zoom out to some longer term time frames, and try to get back to you with some targets on this trade if it does trigger. So we're looking at a break below, call it around the 1370 area, and of course you want to watch it if the market holds up and turns around and tries to make a run for new highs. This stock could also break to the upside on this pattern. That would trigger along. But for the time being, I do favor a downside resolution of this pattern and on a break of today's lows. Okay, another gold, or this is a silver miner, another one of the miner shorts. For those of you gold bugs out there, don't hate me, I just call them like I see them. This one has hit looks like the first target zone today. I still have an additional target zone listed on that. I do plan to revisit these gold outstanding shorts that I have. Again, we're getting very oversold on these stocks, although I do maintain that the longer term charts still look very bearish, and we could see quite a bit more downside. I know the general consensus among gold bugs and just about most traders out there think that the gold stocks are the buy of the century and have been for the last 20, 30, 40% down. But again, the charts, I think I've made a pretty good case recently that we could see quite a bit more downside in these gold stocks. So at this point, I'm not advising anybody to enter a short trade on any of these stocks if you're not already in it. And if you are in these trades, I would definitely ratchet your stops down. Keep in mind that the sector as a whole, these stocks are very volatile, so stops can be tricky. You're either going to have to use very tight stops and just about guarantee that you're going to be stopped out within a day or two, or you can use some loose stops like on HL, for example. This support zone up here, that would probably be a logical stop for a swing short if you're targeting higher gains. Anything less than that, if you look at the trading history on this stock and just about any of these miners, you can see they're very, very volatile. So stops are too tight, you're going to have them run. It's all but a guarantee. Royal Gold, RGLD, another existing stock, gold stock short. And I think I've updated this one recently, last week in the blog. We've already hit T2. Prices came down. We've made it to about halfway to T3, third target on that. Push back up here. That was a very objective entry and still is up here around this T2 level for a move down to T3, which I still favor on Royal Gold. If you look here, I believe this is almost like a magnet, this support line. You can go back. This is a 2-day chart going back to 2009, 2008 prices, and this is a pretty nice support shelf with a lot of volume on the volume of price histogram, but very thin in this area. This is something I look at here. So again, we have a reaction low here. Prices could find support here. I would not be entering this stock at this point unless you can get an entry right up here around T2, that second target, which is now a resistance area, with a stop not too far above. But if you're in the trade holding out for T3, I do think the odds are pretty good that will be hit in the next coming days or weeks here. CBG. Okay, folks, this is a new trade setup. Looks like a nice clean little head and shoulders pattern here has formed. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Meets the criteria. This is head and shoulders topping pattern. We've been in an uptrend since back around September of last year. And this horizontal line that I'm highlighting is the neckline. So break of that neckline, which looks to be about today's lows or closing price of 1767. Break below that, and my targets are listed here below: T1, T2, T3. This horizontal line, vertical line, is the projection. That lines right nicely up with T2, which is also horizontal support. Easy way to project these patterns, just take a trend line, draw it from the peak of the head down to the neckline, and add that on to the point that it breaks down, and that gives you your technical projection for a head and shoulders pattern. So my preferred target at this point is T1. However, again, a lot of this and all these shorts, how they play out depends on what the broad markets do here. We're still teetering with that critical support level on the 60-minute index charts. So if those give way, then I would favor one of the lower targets on this trade. Okay, symbol PEET. PEET, which is Pete's Coffee and Tea. We all know what happened to GMCR recently, and here's another coffee stock with a very clean, this white trend line that I'm highlighting here, nice uptrend line, very, very well defined. We recently had a break below, went for a couple days, pushed back up, and we're still at a very objective entry level where prices closed and traded at throughout today, or actually for the last couple days. So I would look to enter PEET somewhere around current levels with a stop above. It may want to push back and make a full retest of this uptrend line. So give it a little room. Where I'm holding the horizontal line, looks like a nice, here we have a reaction high here. A little bit, they came a little bit through there, the wicks did. But a group of reaction highs there, right here as well. A gap. So where I'm holding that horizontal line, give it a little bit of room. So let's call it the, it all depends on your trading style. I wouldn't let this one get much above 65.40 on a retest. Wouldn't be too comfortable with that. So I think it's a good short anywhere up into that point. And targets, I'll have to take a look at this one, but where I'm holding that horizontal line now, 49.82 looks like an ideal first target. Again, folks, I'll revisit these charts and put them targets on the static formats. Let's see. We have another uptrend line here. I'm highlighting that would also be a target. This comes off the 2009 lows, right when the market bottomed back in March of 2009. And very likely we have a couple reaction points here off that trend line. So depending on if and when prices get there, that would also be a very objective target on the short trade. And let's see if yeah, here it is again on the weekly chart, same trend line. So those are the targets, and again, I'll update this chart along with the rest tomorrow. LHO, this is a REIT, and very clean pattern, uptrend line with a breakdown, retest, and that retest coincided, actually looks like it made a new high and a new high failed. So if you look here, here's the prior high on the stock, prices punched through. New highs are typically bullish events, but of course if they fail, then that's a bearish event. You didn't have any follow-through buying on the new highs, and the fact that it coincides with that retest of that trend line looks to me like a very objective short around current levels. Let's take a look here. Yeah, here's a 2-day period chart going back several years, and you can see that stock struggling with new highs. So depends on your trading style, but I think it could be shorted around these levels with a stop somewhere either above the recent highs that it made, or if you want to have even a tighter stop, I think if it makes another run up there again, it probably will go on to continue higher. So you might want to have that stop just over the $30 area. First target is marked, and again, I will update this trade for additional targets if it begins to play out here. PAAS, Pan American Silver Corp, another silver miner, active short trade on the site. We have now hit T2. T2 was the bottom of this channel and or this horizontal support line, which both come in around the same area, although we're actually a little room to go to T for this horizontal line to be hit, but consider the bottom of this channel as that was hit first today, the second target being hit. So I'll have to revisit this trade tomorrow to see if it makes sense to hold out for any additional downside, but more than likely, looking at the move that this stock has made since the short trade triggered, I'll probably move this out to a completed trade. But again, I'll revisit this one tomorrow. CME, this is another investment brokerage. I put up quite a few investment broker stocks last night. This one's been a active short trade on the site for a while. What we're looking at here is a 2-day period channel. So every candlestick represents 2 days of price action versus your typical 1-day period. It gives me a little bit longer time frame. And since we entered this trade, I believe the first trade was entered on the first tag of the channel around this level. We went up, but we never had a solid close. As I originally said in my notes, this trade was based off the 2-day period chart. So what we'd want to see to cause us to stop out would be a solid 2-day candlestick close above the channel, which we haven't had, at least not anything, again, clearly above that level. So this trade has remained active. T2 has been hit. I'll zoom back into a daily chart. T2 was hit last week and has clearly given way now. All along I favored at least T3 being hit, and I still do. So if and when we get there, I'll let you know if that'll be the final target or not. But for the time being, if you're in the trade, if you haven't taken any profits, at least consider lowering your stops now. Put a stop not too far above that T2 level, as that now should act as a resistance on any bounce. Okay, here's Lowe's company, symbol LOW. This is the counterpart to Home Depot's, their big competitor. And this chart I actually like even better than Home Depot short. A very clean, well-defined uptrend line off the October 2011 lows, and that trend line has broken down recently. Prices pushed back up to retest and have pretty impulsively turned back down. So although that would have been a great short right here on the retest, had I had this stock on my radar last week, I would have posted it. But with that being said, I think it still offers a very objective level, a very objective entry around current levels. Closed today at 30.79. First target is around the 20.50 area. We might have a little bit. I would expect maybe a little bit of a bounce here around this level, possibly. Looks like some minor support, but I do expect that level to go. That's around the 30. Just over the $30 area. Again, first target, and I will add some updates to this chart as and if the trade starts to play out. MA, not a lot to say on this trade. This has been an active trade on the site for a while. It was a short way back when. I've traded this stock long and short on it's been a trade idea on this site off the top and bottom of this channel. We've done very well with it. The last time it hit the top of the channel, I put it on as another short idea. It's been a very frustrating trade. As far as percentage moves, we really haven't moved up that much. It all depends on your trading style and what your stops are. But I've kept it on as a short idea, and we're finally turning down pretty impulsively. We've ridden up the top of that channel for about as long as we have in the past, from peak to peak, before running back down to the bottom. So I do expect MA to come back down from this level. I'm looking at some pretty nice negative divergence in place here on the RSI, the MACD. If you look at peak to peak in the prices, so I expect MA to move down pretty good from here. So if you're in the trade, if you've given it this much room, you might as well hold on to it at this point. Maybe at this point, trail your stops down a little bit, give it some room, but I don't expect it to make another run to the top of the channel. And if it does, I would say an ideal stop would be, call it over the 450 area. USO was a short a while back on this at a tag of this resistance level, and then again on the break of this red uptrend line. And as you can see, this one in the last few days is really starting to drop off sharply. But I've had these support levels. Forgive me, folks. I told you. I think I mentioned I'm coming down with the flu, a gift from my 2 young sons. A little bit woozy-headed tonight and trying to catch up on my sleep as well. So just trying to get these out here. These 2 support levels, keep an eye on for USO. And until then, I don't see a whole lot of support. Looks like some minor support here. I wouldn't recommend entering this trade at this point in time, but I just wanted to give a quick update on USO. VGZ, Vista Gold Corp, another active short trade gold stock on the site. Head and shoulders pattern, which I've noted. There are static charts of all these gold stocks that I'm covering tonight, the gold and silver stocks. The not updated, but some fairly recent static charts. Either way, this one looks like it has a lot more downside to play out. We had a breakdown. Here's a upsloping neckline. This line here. We had a breakdown, retest, tag of the first target, so that was an opportunity to take profits there. Push back up again, tested that neckline from underneath, and have turned back down. So I would expect if prices visit T1 again, I would say the next time they visit T1, they're probably going to break it either right away or shortly thereafter. So we have some additional downside targets. This is a head and shoulders pattern measurement, which is quite a bit below. That's T4 if this trade really starts to build some momentum. So as of now, this is still an active trade, and if you are in the trade, I would consider moving. Make sure you have your stops not too far above that level. I really don't want to see another retest of that neckline from this point. So if we get up around there, the $3 level, that's probably an ideal stop. NGD, another gold stock, another active trade on the site, and another head and shoulders pattern. Left shoulder head, right shoulder, pretty clear. T1, we're very close to T1, so we've had a breakdown, kind of flirted, danced around a little with that neckline from underneath and just slightly above. That didn't last very long. Now prices have turned back down, and we're within a day or so of T1. Not saying we're going to hit it tomorrow, but a day or so as far as price fluctuations in this stock. So I would expect it to be hit within the next week or so. And if not, looks like we have a cluster of candlesticks around this level, so you might want to lower your stop to just above the 915 area, somewhere around there. Again, all depends on your entry price and your own risk tolerance. Okay, folks, that's it. There are quite a few other stocks on the list, but this video now has already run about just over 30 minutes, which is a lot longer than I planned it to go. So, as I said, I'll try to get these charts on the site tomorrow as static charts, and hopefully my notes will be a lot more clear than my explanation tonight. Again, folks, forgive that. Forgive me, I'm really feeling woozy-headed from what's probably the flu coming on, and I'll do my best to get these out there tomorrow and keep you updated on the market. Have a good night.